Hey everybody, it's Bust with Battles with Bust number 289, and today we're going to be doing battle with Shyvana Pantheon. And so this is our second video of the 4.1 patch. The nerfs to Katarina and Kayn and Aatrox are here. The buffs to Alawi and her friends, Ornn and his friends, Jax and those cards, all in place here. But one of the kind of lesser recognized buffs in the patch was the update to Shyvana. And so Shyvana used to have to see all the damage that the dragons dealt. Now she only needs to have the dragons deal damage. Granted, they have to deal more damage, but she doesn't have to see it. Also, an effect here, it's a little challenging to see when you can't see the flip side of the card, but her Strafing Strike, the dragon single combat card, has been reduced in cost to 2 mana if generates it. So all around, pretty powerful additions to Shyvana as a champion that's always been pretty powerful in any board-centric meta. And so as I was kind of like thinking about Shyvana, how do we best want to take advantage of her in this current place, I've never really been particularly happy with just the Dragons-based decks. I think just putting a bunch of stats on the board isn't really the way to go about the game. And so here we play, say, like a random dude on 2, whatever, but then the 3/4 on turn 3, and then Shyvana, and then a Screeching Dragon. Like, it's just a bunch of stats that doesn't really interact with your opponent. And that's something that I think is exceptionally important, especially in this format we're in right now. And so the card that I was actually looking towards in terms of the dragons was going to be the Wounded White Flame. This is a card that has had a bit of time in the spotlight. It's been nerfed along the course of its existence, but this is a very powerful dragon. It's cheap in the curve, and then that starts to let us tie into some other abilities. And so if we're looking to add in the Faded ability of the Wounded White Flames, we don't really care about being all in on dragons, because Shyvana doesn't need to see all of the dragon work at play. It lets us chase down another avenue of success, and that other avenue we're going to chase after is using Pantheon. And so Pantheon is another champion that kind of strikes me as interesting. He's most commonly seen these days with his friend Varus, and Varus Pantheon coming together for a extremely powerful styled OTK deck. And so you have to ask yourself, if there's an established good deck already, what does this deck add to the mix that you don't get out of something like Pantheon Varus? And there are a few definite upgrades that you get by jumping into Demacia and using our Shyvanas. First and foremost, you have access to a better removal suite. The Varus version of the deck only has access to the Strike card for your equipped units, which, granted, it is powerful, but we get much more varied and powerful cards here. So we're going to be playing the likes of Single Combat, Cataclysm, and Concerted Strike. Then on top of these, the Cataclysm also does this thing with the Overwhelms. And so if we manage to have, say, a 7/6 Pantheon on the board with Overwhelm, if he gets to Cataclysm into a unit, there's a lot of potential to deal the Overwhelm damage that way. Also, speaking of Overwhelms, we get to play Dragon's Clutch, since we do have this Dragon's package in here between Shyvana, the Wounded White Flame, and the Screeching Dragon. So we have answers to that question of how do we deal damage to the opponent? How do we go over top of their units? How do we get that elusive rally or overwhelm effect that will let us crash through the opposing board? And so a nice little card advantage engine / game ender in the Dragon's Clutch. And then also, speaking to rallies, we have access to the Golden Aegis. The rally portion of the deck is here as well, something that you don't get when you're playing Targon plus Cultists. And so otherwise, we have the board just kind of filled out with some targeting kind of cards. We have the Mountain Goat Lunari Cultist to generate gems, the Wandering Shepherd to give the target while also dropping an equipment, and the Blinded Mystic coming down for a potential silence. I think the potential silence is fairly important to talk about in this meta. One of the real rising stars of the current meta, and something I think we're going to have to really be asking ourselves the answer to the question to over the next week or two, is how do we deal with the Alawi decks? I think Alawi, with the recent buffs that she has gotten, has really given her the opportunity. I don't know if it will be a tier 1 deck as the kind of top ladder contenders, but it's most certainly going to be a relevant best of 3 deck. And if you can't answer the tentacles, it's very easy for them to get out of hand. And so that's why we're also excited to have Blinded Mystic. We have access to Hush as kind of additional ways to deal with that rising star that is Alawi. And so that's the deck. That's what we'll be doing battle with today. You know what we got to do before the battles begin, though. We got to go and turn something premium, and it's going to be our friend Lunari Cultist here. You know, I wanted to potentially upgrade the Dragon's Clutch. It hasn't been turned premium yet. It is a little bit more on theme, but it's not a unit, man. I like to let our opponents enjoy the cards we're playing with as we're coming out here and paying to win. If we just play a burst spell, we're the only ones that get to enjoy it, man. That's not very nice. That's not very fun, but if we put this premium Lunari Priestess on the board, our opponent gets to enjoy it as well. So, okay, right from the get-go, the Alawi deck that we are alluding to comes right at us. And so we'll see if we can pick up, any useful bits of silences to potentially deal with that tentacle. Otherwise, it is nice having access to things like cataclysms and single combats and the like to potentially kill it before it gets out of hand and keep it from just going ridiculous mode right from the get-go. All right. Watchful Idol on board. Opponent's ready to go ridiculous right from the get-go. We'll see if he has the second one. The single one is manageable. 2 of them is quite tough to deal with. All right, though. Our friend Wounded White Flame ready to do his thing. See what turns up here. See if he spends any mana before we start going for stuff. It is worth noting that the Cataclysm does count as a target, so if we come in and try and Cataclysm the Tentacle, we will become a 3-power attacker as the attack comes in. What you got? Nopify. It's a little bit of a frown. At least we still got the target and the faded out of it. So Pantheon up to 1 tick, the +1/+1 from the fated. Interesting. We have the potential to take down the tentacle. We have to go the no value route in playing the Pale Cascade. I don't think I'm really amped about that. I think just taking down the Sea's Voice is probably good enough here. Oh, well, the idea was good enough, but can't quite get there. And so we can technically, if we don't want to just give up on it, we can. Well, let's just do this, right? We can just Guiding Touch. That's the answer to the problem. Now, opponent this deck tends to play things like Wuju style, so we're not guaranteed to get the victory there, but we did get it at the end of the day. All right, so target number 2 coming in for Pantheon. Target number 3 about to come in with this weapon. I saw the Screeching Dragon come in, and we definitely have to give a little bit of pause with it. Maybe we are okay just a Screeching Dragon and just try and take down the Tentacle. Either way, we're going to start outscaling this Tentacle, and so I think I'm going to look to hook in the Sea's Voice just to get rid of the overwhelm aspect of what the opponent's doing, but I don't think he's going to want to interact with our dragon. Now does anything change since opponent's pretty much out of mana at this point? I think I still want to just go after the Sea's Voice. We're never going after Twisted Fate here. I think this is fine. It's one of those spots where a Wuju style would be pretty crushing, but you have to kind of figure if he didn't have the trick on the previous turn to protect the Tentacle, probably doesn't have it this turn. All right, Alawi coming in. We could look to drop Pantheon here. He's going to activate the other Pale Cascade and also have the barrier for the turn. I think I dig it. It seems a little bit better than adding a Wandering Shepherd to the board. He'll be getting the flippy flip treatment next turn. That's what they call it. That's the kind of language the kids use these days. The flippy flip treatment, All right, well, big dragon down. Sad day for you, but I think it's fair to say that he put in quite a bit of work. The single combat. Cool. I'm ready to battle, Alawi. All right, we're going to get a good one here. I think the Pot of Pain, it seems ideal, but we have a lot of things to spend our mana on here. I'm just going to go for the combat reel. We may find ourselves just getting a rally after this, and if we hit the sickness with Pantheon, then that rally is going to look exceptional. What did he hit? He's quick attack challenger is good to go naturally with his fearsome. This is a it's probably not a game-ending turn, but we can just smoke his whole board. It's always something pretty cool to do. Smoke his board, then smoke his pole, am I right? You're ready here. You're coming in for that hard-hitting analysis that you get out of these bust videos. And so I'm going to come back for the Tentacle with another quick attack from Pantheon. We could have looked to say hooked it Alawi and the Tentacle, and then look to use or just have that as an opportunity to attack with the Wandering Shepherd and Twisted Fate. But that seems kind of meh. I'm not super excited about that. You have Fury? Yeah, he's got Fury. I guess that works here. GG. Boomed him real good. All right. Off to the races, friends. Victory has been achieved. And so I did, mention the Pantheon Varus aspect and potentially skipping over him or reasons you wouldn't want to play Varus. I'm kind of curious if the big Overwhelms lineup has the opportunity to shine in the best of threes. I'm going to look to start playing a little bit of best of threes starting with this upcoming weekend. But if you have the opportunity to, say, split Pantheon and Varus apart, so you're playing like Action Pantheon and then Varus Shyvana, then in your third deck you could look to play Alawi of some sort. I think it's a pretty interesting set of decks. They overrun a lot of the decks of the format. They tend to get murdered by stuff like Pirates, but if Pirates isn't running around heavily or those triple aggro style lineups aren't running around heavily, it does give you, a lot of potential. All right, let's get started. I would like to get something a little defensive here if we can. Pot of Pain should get the job done. I just don't want to lose our entire board to Avalanche, and so looking for Pot of Pain, Shepherd's Nook, the combat reel, whatever. Just something that either gives a point of health or the tough. Opponent probably just wants to ramp this turn, or we'll see if he's going to be ultra cool and play the goat and the thing that copies it twice, but I think we're okay. Looks like it's probably just a catalyst of the Aeons. Yep. But do have a nice meaty unit here in the Mountain Goat, ready to survive some of the AoEs of the format. I don't know about you, but I do like it when my units are meaty. And so that's kind of a tough one. We did have the Scout equipment in there. Scout does play fantastically with Pantheon, but again, I'm just looking to have a little bit of meat on the board, a little bit of substance to our units so we can dodge his common removal, his Blighted Ravines. Seeing things like Vengeance come in is quite fantastic for what we're trying to do here. Not planning on playing any units next turn. We're just going to hit for 8. And then if he does something stupid, we can just win the game with Golden Aegis. Harsh winds? All right. That's not stupid, but it's better than it's better than just outright losing the game, I guess. So let's see. Let's go ahead and get our target. That's coming in. Now I want to just draw different dragons. Shyvana up, Screeching Dragon in. Now we're not losing any mana. Entreat. Picking up old Anivia. Sure. So do we want to try and boom this turn? Like, I'm just like really tempted with this with this Golden Aegis, but I mean we can look to just Cataclysm down the Anivia. This sequencing works, right? We can play Cataclysm, send in on her, Pale Cascade, and still get to draw the card. No? Well, we tried. We tried. Now, the thing that bamboozled me in the previous video that I forgot was a thing is this Anivia egg can block. I don't remember when this happened. I swore back in the days of old, in the days of yore, that the egg couldn't block. But times change, you know. Things are different. It's 2023. Anivia Part 2. It's really unfortunate we don't... Oh, I was going to say, it's unfortunate we don't have a one-mana target, but we do have the mana gain on our equipment. And so we can potentially get a rally this turn. See how hard Pantheon pops off here. Really, really big potential chance for greatness if Pantheon hits the right abilities. Looks like he hit Quick Attack Challenger out of these. Gonna be just a little short. Oh no, Pantheon has Overwhelm. We're gonna get there exactly. Oh shit, the fucking egg. I forgot the egg can block, man. It gets me every time. Gets me every time. I thought we were gonna be able to punch in here for like 11, but he got that egg block to mess everything up. Lame. Yeah, that's pretty worrisome. It's very, very easy to just not win the game on our next attack. A lot of shit can come out of the opponent here, but the plus side here, the positive side, is he should have to spend a bunch of mana this turn. The Harrowing. What's that, like 2 Anivias and a Rekindling makes a third? Is this 9? I don't think we have to care. So if we can block the Rekindler, our Pantheon is tough. Then if we look at these other ones, we have to block with the Shepherd because it's just going to die anyways. So we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 9 damage in total. Okay. I did the mathematics on that, and I'm not upset. It's 1 less damage onto Pantheon this way, so we'll block the Anivia with him. Now I guess the real bummer of a situation is all these stupid eggs can block, right? He's going to have 5 eggs on the board, but they can block all of our units. That's not awesome. Not awesome. We ever want to just cycle this turn? Like, I think, well, the downside to cycling is we can't really play Pot of Pain. I don't think Pot of Pain is going to be super relevant, though. Gonna look for a... what you called? Looking for a... Oh, it's slipping my mind. The Dragon's Clutch. We only have the one copy, but we need a Dragon's Clutch or a Rally or something to try and get through this. This game's probably done at this point, but it's worth the effort at least. He gets the flip, that's fine.
A new era begins.
So, I mean, let's just add stuff to the board. If we're gonna be like real about our situation here, if it's just so easy for him to have like a single frostbite and then just outright win the game. And so I think we're just gonna have to add more stuff. So I want to let's get the cultist in. We want to have as many 3 attackers as we possibly can, and then we want to be able to shield vault. He's got 4 blockers now. The Anivia is actually fine. You know, our Pantheon has elusive. He can just attack. I just don't suspect he's going to be a winning attacker. Let's see. We can clean out some of this shit, right? We can attack with Pantheon, Shyvana. We can hook in 1 egg with Screeching Dragon. He has to block Shyvana, or she'll be lethal. Then we can Shyvana single combat down the additional egg. He's only going to have 2 eggs on the follow-up turn. It's a thing. Where's our... Oh, Shyvana's not flipped. That's a slight problem. Okay. So let's see, how are we going to do this now? We can't play Pantheon until next turn. We do have the Chain Vest to protect something with. Let's just protect the dragons at this point. We can get Shyvana up to 4. And then put a Chain Vest on her. She'll only take 3 from the Anivias. Potentially get a little blockage. And then maybe we'll just hit like the Superstar Pantheon with... I guess Spell Shield isn't as good as I want it to be. We need to play Pantheon after combat, right? So that we can... Urgh, fucking cats. Whew. Sorry, that was a collection of cat claws just dug into my leg. This is... Welcome to videos with Bust. Just fucking cats causing all the problems. Alright, but what do we got? It's got to be Sandsworn Amulet. There was an Overwhelm in there. Maybe we should have gone for the Overwhelm. But as it stands with the +1 stat, we can still Chain Vest Shyvana and have her survive all these things. I mean, I guess it's really not the biggest deal. Oh, these fucking cats. Now she's stepping on my mouse cord. It's the dumb one. It's the black and white one. It's the dumb one.
An end to war. Hey, stop that. This is your end. I smell fear.
Alright, well, we kill an Anivia this way. I guess that's a positive. This will get the Shyvanas to flip, and then she'll get the bonus stats. Alright, Pantheon. Well, we got to see what you can do, my friend. We're definitely going to need you to hit a Spell Shield. And then might be able to do something from there. I just want to give him a chance to spend a bunch of mana he doesn't need to spend. Alright, here he comes. Get elusive again. And the Spell Shield. Alright, well, that's what we were going for. Again, our chances of winning this game exceptionally low, but we did at least get ourselves in this spot to where we have a protected unit capable of killing the opponent. If he only has like a bunch of vengeances or some shit in hand, we could potentially get ourselves out of this. It's pretty hard to imagine that he's not just going to stop us here, but we'll see, man. We'll see. Does that pop the spell shield or the barrier? The spell shield? What a dumb interaction. You're only supposed to work the way we need you to work, game.
This is our time.
Well, when we... Holy shit, we still won. What a dumb fucking deck. What a dumb deck. Oh, what a joke. People playing that stupid shit. And I had to drop the bad news on you. We're only going to get to play like 5 games today after we have to play dumb matches like that. So stupid. So stupid. I can't imagine the type of person that says, "Oh boy, this is going to be fun. I'm going to play some Soul Cleave Anivia." And then we get to follow it up with the Seraphine guy. Pretty cool. Pretty cool set of games. Nope. That is what the children call sarcasm. That's what the kids call it these days. They say, "That's bussin', yo. That's bussin'. It slaps." Oh man, give me some of those other good ones. They're not fresh anymore. I didn't realize I was going to be using youngster lingo in the middle of the video. I have to get in touch with my nephew and learn some words that the kids are saying these days. So here, I'm going to go with the Lunari Cultist. We did just draw the Mountain Goat to give us the potential to, deal a little bit more damage, but like our game plan gets royally hosed by the likes of a Mystic Shot. And so I didn't want to play Mountain Goat. Opponent Mystic Shot it, and then we just lose all of our ability to cycle through these turns, right? We're going to play the White Flame, hit it with the gem. Next turn after that, we're going to hit it with the Wandering Shepherd. It just, if that single point of play goes wrong, then the rest of our plan is pretty messed up. All right, so there's a target. We can do a little bit more targeting, something cool in here. We could go for an upcycled Rake. He's going to be big enough. He's going to be statty enough to enjoy all this. Kind of lame. Kind of lame, dude. Just letting you know. just an FYI. Still cruising, though. What's he think? Are you just going to take the 2 damage? Big damage coming at you, my friend. Sure. All right. Next turn. Next unit. Next target. What do we got? Felios coming in. He doesn't have the mana to actually do anything this turn, so he's not he's not the biggest problem. You want to drop Shyvana first? Let's drop Screeching Dragon first. I think I'd rather have the Screeching Dragon get the gem attached to it. The downside to the Screeching Dragon is if opponent just picked up Gravitum, you could Gravitum down the Screeching Dragon, cause us a little bit of problem. Really? Alright. Taking the bait. That's wild, right? I'm not crazy here. I'm not the crazy one in this scenario. That was wild. That's the 3 damage thing. Sure. Is he going to have another removal? I was really wanting to get this 6 damage in with the Screeching Dragon. Gets us really close to flipping Shyvana on the round. Battle time. Not surprising. There's no way an opponent would have just thrown away Aphelios on the previous turn if he didn't have a backup Aphelios. And so I'm okay with that. We still have... It doesn't look like we have a ton of things to spend our mana on because we have the only 4 cards in hand, but the Dragon's Clutch, drawing 2 dragons, gives us a way to spend 8 or 9 mana. So we can definitely get big stuff on board fast. Just a matter of how long we're going to be stuck dirtling against this guy. We need to end the game pretty soon. It's kind of the downside to using the Dragon's Clutch to draw units. It's that we also need it to give out that overwhelm. It's just physically playing that? Interesting. I'm a little worried with this going with the goat first. We really need to get a target, and if we now have to follow up with the cultist, it's gonna be a struggle, right? I want to get the extra targets in before we drop Pantheon, but if he has like a thermogenic beam for our Shyvana, and we can't just replay the other Shyvana now, that's gonna be a real pain in the dick, right? If we just say played the cultist instead of the mountain goat, we still got this 5 mana. We could replay Shyvana and still get a target for the turn. And next turn we could target again and play Pantheon. Like it has the real potential for failure.
Deluded fools.
I do not like the potential for failure, FYI. It's not something Bust takes. Don't take that lightly, yo. Don't take the failures lightly. Now, where's this target going to go? I mean, these aren't particularly strong attackers for the upcoming round. I guess we'll just drop it on Shyvana. Still feels like she's about to die, and we're wasting the gem, but... eh. What you got for us, Duder? You seem really excited about all this mana you got. You got this Aphelios on the board. He's got to be doing something. You can't just drop Aphelios down. Wow. Guess not. Guess I learned my lesson. He doesn't have to do anything. say, Bust, don't be telling me what to do. All right, let's take the extra keyword. We'll have the additional mana to play a Pale Cascade onto Pantheon if we want, or what may end up happening here, depending on the keywords, is just confronting Pantheon. What you got? Quick Attack, Lifesteal, Regenerate, Tough Fury. So he didn't pick up Challenger. We can use the Shyvana Confront to give him Challenger, and then use that to try and take down Aphelios. Maybe. He didn't hit Spell Shield, though, so there's a non-zero chance he doesn't really get to participate in the turn. A lot of stuns coming out of this stuff. Three damage to the goat. Totes. Totes my goats, as the kids say.
In twilight, they are nothing.
Be cool if Pantheon was a dragon. He looks like a dragon, right? He's got all those muscle dragons on him. all them dragon muscles tied up in his arm piece. Ooh, you chiseled, bro. We haven't talked about the size of Pantheon's muscles here in a while. Look at that. Chiseled as fuck. You got bigger arms, Shyvana? Maybe not. Shyvana's chiseled as well. Don't feel bad. Don't feel bad about the size of your cannons, girl. All right, what do we got here? Opponent's thinking about doing stuff now. Oh, shit. He's doing all the stuff. Is this a Seraphine flip that's about to happen? No, he's pretty far away from that. I guess I should have thought about attacking down Seraphine instead of Aphelios, but it felt too early for Seraphine to pop off. Opponent hasn't really played too many spells. All right, what do you got? Lightning bolt, caustic riff. So it's just going to kill our Shyvana. I don't know, dude. Oh, I'll skip on that happening. Bust says, no thank you. No guarantees that that'll stop it, right? Has the more mana potential in hand, but got that big chunk of damage in. That feels good.
There are none like me.
That Arclight Shyvana, dragon forming it. Dragon time, hanging out with Vayne and stuff. Whatever you do when you're in the Arclight. What you got for us, opponent? Just a bar. Now it is kind of interesting. If we just say like play the Wounded White Flame and then try to get Overwhelms in next turn, there's a lot of potential there. But if he like plays Gravitum onto Shyvana, or plays Gravitum onto Wounded White Flame, then we're going to be kind of far behind. But the next kind of downside is that ooh, Cataclysm. The next downside is like we just don't have too much to do otherwise. So let's do it. Let's add in the White Flame. Cataclysm was pretty big. We have the potential to just kill him right now, right? And that's always a pretty cool place to be. Sending 7 Overwhelm into 3 health. This is one of the things you can't do with the Varus deck, right? The opponent's turn, they think it's safe. You say, no, friend, it is not safe. The Cataclysm is coming at you. He's doing stuff, he's digging, he's cycling. Looks like he might have gotten there. Did you get there, Fam Jam?
I hear you, son. Now you're about to hear me.
I was trying to think if we've played the combat tricks this game. We've played like gems and we've played guiding touches. We played Pale Cascade. We just played Pale Cascade on Shyvana. Yeah. Guiding touch to the face is pretty good as well. All right, man, he's gonna get the Gravitum stun on the Wounded White Flame. A little scary. A little scary. You heard it here first. Say, Bust, are you scared? A little bit. A little bit. Oh, he doesn't go for it, though. He must not know that overwhelming stuff that's about to come right at him. Interesting. Where'd you get that extra mana from? Oh, the Sketcher was free. Okay. All right. Well, we got to win the game on this attack, or the game's not gonna last any longer. Ooh, a rally. Ooh. Bust gets excited about that. So who's our hook, right? It's like if he has a stun, and then Seraphine actually gets a good block out here, that's kind of abysmal. But let's just take the. Let's do this. I like this one. It still lets us deal a big chunk of damage with the Pantheon, but the back alley barkeep doesn't get to just like block our smaller units and try and get takedowns that way. Now he's got this terrible block lined up out here on Shyvana. Doesn't know that the Overwhelms are about to come at him. Pretty good. And then we haven't mentioned this yet either, but if we give, say, Shyvana Overwhelm, and he had a big unit in front of her, we could look to single combat down the big unit, chunk some extra Overwhelm damage in over there, or over here on Pantheon, whoever is doing the Overwhelms for us. Okay. Wish the dude's timer was out by now. I feel like this has been a 15-minute game that we've used 3 minutes of the timer on. All right, let's play Progress Day, I guess. Sure. Loads of fun for everybody out here. There you go. Take 4 minutes of doing absolutely nothing and still lose the game. I love it. I love it. Loads of fun for both sides of the board. All right. Next battle. Ooh, such a dumb collection of decks. That's usually the kind of chain of games that makes me question whether or not I even want to play. So hopefully we'll move on to something else. All right, Alawi and Vayne. It's what Alawi Vayne is what strikes me as probably being a little bit stronger than the likes of the Ionia Alawis. The Ionia Alawi was a deck at a point in time. That's a very descriptive. I know it was a deck. People put those cards together at some point, but the risk reward factor of Ionia Alawi is much higher. They have a bunch of cards that if you just like don't draw Alawi, then you can't win the game. And the Vayne versions tend to have a little bit more play to them. They have the cataclysms that we have going on in our deck, so you have those additional ways to you have those additional ways to like kill the opponent with the overwhelms and stuff. It strikes me as just probably being the better option. All right, so we have a couple of options here. Are we like blowing our wad a little bit too early if we play the Blinded Mystic here? I think we probably are. The opponent shouldn't have the opportunity to play a good removal spell here. I don't think he's going to be able to outgrow our dragon. Right, if he had 5 mana here for a Concerted Strike, we would have to worry about this play. But I think given the way this board is set up that we don't. I wasn't planning on playing Saga Seeker. Maybe we need to now. It's like if we're going to hush the Tentacle in combat, then we can trade with the Saga Seeker if we need to. Interesting. Okay, that looks good. All right, we adding any of this stuff to the board? I mean, we don't have any spells in hand. There's the Cataclysm. Okay. Well, I think we're still in a pretty decent spot here, right? His Tentacle is pretty non-existent at this point. It's not going to get out of hand. It's going to be tough for him to really pop off with Alawi. Shyvana is most certainly flipped now, so we can play Shyvana and just start dropping single combats on the opponent. I think we're in a pretty decent spot.
Witness my true power.
The old animation. Arc lights don't get animations. I think there were some notes in the patch notes that said something about cosmetic updates. I didn't pay enough attention to catch what they were, but I think something happened. You gonna get boomed, son. You gonna get boomed. I don't think we have to worry about the Tentacle at the moment. Let's just keep it from getting out of hand. All right, we've still got the Blinded Mystic in hand, so even if it comes up to, excuse me, getting fairly large, we can just silence it. Probably going to follow up with Jaral, right? So it would be kind of nice to keep 3 mana behind. Let's do this. I'm just going to load up the Mountain Goat. I was thinking of what do we want to just Dragon's Clutch, but I mean maybe we don't even need to do that. Now that he's got 2 challengers, I don't think I like it as much.
I see the heavens of flame, gods burning in starfire.
Now that seems good, right? The Tentacle's gonna be a 5/5 when it attacks, but we can still block it with the Mountain Goat. Set this up so we would have a 2 5-power units to try and take this dum-dum down with. Looks like opponent's just given up. Cool. GG. Not bad. Not bad. All right, let's hydrate. Jump into the next one. And Jax. When you see Jax with P and Z, that's gonna be that's gonna be a concurrent timeline stack. Just a little FYI. I'm kind of interested in that. I was curious how to kind of evolve with Jax into the current format, and one of the things I was kind of considering with Jax was to do Jax Jace, and then look to use the Acathian Mirage as one of your 6th-cost spells. I played a few games with it. It did not work out well, but you know, sometimes you gotta dig through those turds to try to find a nugget of corn, and I didn't find any nuggets, but you know, I feel like it was worth the adventure.
Jack said there'd be contenders out here.
What you got? An entrancing lure? That's kind of shitty, my dude. That's kind of shitty. All right. So much for our good dragon. Now we're light on high quality units. Oh, there's just Shyvana. I guess Shyvana's a high quality unit, right?
Blood, Demacian heart.
She better be. If she's not a high quality unit, why is she in our deck, right? Riddle me this.
Suffer my fury.
Oh, you're too small? Shyvana. Alright. Now Jax comes in. Okay. Blocked and loaded with Pantheon, primed and ready with his with his 0 targets. No complaints. No complaints. What's this? A fish fight? Gotta be a fish fight. You know, fish fight his dude onto Shyvana. Yep. I mean, we probably just want to go ahead and take the kill, right? Gives us the target for the turn. Gets the unit dead. He still gets to keep the equipment, of course, but the cook will be gone now. No, he's not. Oh, shit. I thought we were single combating each other. We should have just hit that with Pantheon. Little whoopsies. There's no 1-mana reason we don't like this, right? He just wants to put the Shepherd's Authority on something else. He's probably got the Light of Acacia in hand or something. It's tempting to like leave Jax up so that he doesn't get to flip. Like, I know he gets to flip into the next combat, but we have kind of a free hook onto the combat cook here. Let's just take him down. Like, I was really considering with this turn to just play, like, Wandering Shepherd, Mountain Goat, and Gem and pass. But that's kind of a free target to take down. I think that's okay. Yeah, he's got a nice scout unit out here. Look at that. Doesn't have any equipments, though. Really surprised he's not putting equipments on this thing. We're not a deck that can, like, really punish you for not making open attacks. Alright, let's take my equipment. I think we just want the Pan of Pain. I could see Pantheon getting in multiple combats here. I can see it. I can see it.
This all we got? Hey, I've done more with less.
What you got? A 6/3 Overwhelm with Quick Attack? It's not terrible. Not terrible.
Back to reel it in.
Alright, lots of stuff coming in. So the Jax is going to flip. He's held a bunch of mana back, but he shouldn't have access to too much in the sense of like combat tricks. Like, I guess this is a deck that could be playing things like Mystic Shot, but okay, this makes a little more sense. It was just like you weren't doing anything until this attack came forward, and so it was very strange. Right, and I probably got to block the 5 attacker at the end, unfortunately. We want to put the extra point of damage on him or keep our better unit. Probably want to keep our better unit. Got more shit? What is this? The fuck was that free for? Did he really have 3 mana? What? I guess he had 3 mana. I swore he was completely tapped out of mana. Interesting. Alright. Well. Victory is yours, my friend. That was weird. Did he really have mana? I gotta pull that up and look. Alright. He had mana. I stopped it and looked. But we'll get one more game in here. Don't get mad at me. Get mad at people that play Anivia Shadow Isles and people that play Seraphine. It cuts into our hour and don't get to play as many games. And so that's what it is. If it was me, I would make a format to where you can't play a deck unless it has Legion Rearguard in it. And if you're not following those rules, then it's probably not worth playing. And so that's what I think we'll do. If Riot's listening, that's what they'll make as the next the next Gauntlet format. You have to play 3 Noxus decks, and they all have to have Legion Rearguard in it. And if you want to play, if you want to play Seraphine in that, then go for it. You can play your Seraphine Riven or something. All right, we'll get our goat on board. What else we got? Preservarium. Not entirely certain what to expect out of Lee Sin action. I mean, I know they're going to have ways to come out and generate Overwhelm, so he's going to try and OTK us with Lee Sin. And so I would suspect that there's going to be things like swinging glaives and ways to generate the lucky finds to put the Overwhelm find onto Lee Sin. That's my guess. Right, and our first chain vest of the day. Is that right? Maybe we do the chain vest earlier. But it's pretty powerful if you're looking to just go tall out here. We'll go for the overwhelm. Our guy should be big enough to just win these fights now. I don't need quick attack for the Wounded White Flame to take them down. He shouldn't have ways to take the Wounded White Flame down outside of combat. Now, if he has Concussive Palms, I won't be surprised. If he has... I like it. If he's got, you know, some of the things like that. What? Oh boy. Well, squeeze them cheeks for me. Things can go south real fast here if if our dragon doesn't survive this combat. But he did. He did. Nothing from opponent. Lucky find lost. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool if you ask me. All right, we'll go ahead and just come in for 10. I was thinking there, it's like, well, we can look to maybe just put Screeching Dragon on the board. Because then if he plays a unit, we can just hook the unit out of combat if we want and still get the same amount of damages in. But it's a little bit of a sketchy way to do it. So let's see what happens here. He's going to have like some kind of spell, but we can still follow up with a Concerted Strike. I think we get out of this combat just fine. And if he doesn't do something, then we do get to punch in for 4 damage, it looks like. Goes Sonic Wave. Now this, I'm not entirely certain how this interaction works. Now, the thing that we want to do is we want to Concerted Strike Lee Sin, so he's just dead, right? We don't want our Wounded White Flame getting into combat with Lee Sin. I'm pretty sure if we let the units get into combat, then we don't get the opportunity to play a card. But I think now we don't get to strike with our unit anymore. Is that the case? Why'd you concede, dude? I needed to figure out how the fucking game works. Come on, dude. Come on, dude. That was not on point. But a good set of game nonetheless, a good set of battles. I like the concept. I like a lot of the ideas in the deck. Now, don't get me wrong. Some of the numbers are wrong here. We absolutely never wanted Saga Seeker. The Saga Seekers probably should just be replaced for the full package of Mountain Goats and Lunari Cultists. But, you know, there's a lot of power, a lot of strength coming out of a deck like this. We had games to where Pantheon was strong. We had games where Shyvana was strong. But more importantly than saying things like that, we had these games to where units like Wounded White Flame were really strong. And that's where you start to really, you know, pick up some advantages. Like, if you look at the Pantheon Varus deck, what units are good in the deck that aren't Pantheon or Varus? There aren't any, right? They're all shitty units. They're all garbage. And so you do have that greater consistency of drawing Varus because of his cultist power. But there's nothing in the deck outside of the champions that anyone is actually worried about. And so that's where you kind of run into spaces to where you can have the serious problem if your opponent plays like Cultist Flash Freeze or Harsh Winds or Three Sisters or Vengeances or whatnot. If you're not able to properly protect your champions, then you can just fall behind because there's no backup plan. And so it's pretty nice having access to things like Wounded White Flame. And then we did have some, you know, really powerful turns in there with the likes of Golden Aegis and Cataclysm that you absolutely do not get playing Targon plus Cultists. And so very interesting, very strong. But yeah, again, like it's tough to kind of gauge the format right now, given that there's not a whole lot of aggro running around. I'm really surprised that things like, well, I shouldn't say that I'm surprised since the new patch just came out, but once things kind of like balance themselves out and people start playing like pirates again, that's where we'll have to start re-asking ourselves the questions of like, do we want these Saga Seekers to just have cheaper units in the deck, or how do we kind of mix and match these things to be the proper numbers? Because we are playing a lot of like 2-ofs. I feel really strong about every card in the deck that's a 3-of. But once you kind of branch out from there's really a lot of opportunity to balance some of these numbers, right? Would we rather play more Blinded Mystics? Would we rather play even the 3/3 that gives Hush and that gives Spell Shield Overwhelm and stuff? Like, we have some other potential targets out here that can be pretty good, but I'll have to play more games to get the kind of feel for that. But the thing I will say is, we never wanted Saga Seeker. It probably should just be more Mountain Goats and Lunari Cultists. I felt like we drew enough of those as well, so maybe it's just one more of those, and then another card or an interactive spell or something. But I think the deck, has some potential. It has some power. Looks like it should be able to do some pretty good ladder grinding, and with a little bit more tuning. If it's not a top tier ladder grinder, it's certainly a deck to consider for best of 3. Age, you get to play dragons. Everybody wants to play dragons, right? And so that is going to do it for us today. Hope everyone enjoyed the video. I hope you can ask yourself the question, do you like dragons? You can complete the D's Nuts joke on your own. Hope you maybe learned a thing or two along the way and had a good time watching. So this is Bust, and we thank you for being here.